Welcome to Wisdom Unveiled. Today, we're doing a deep dive into some pretty intense philosophical sources, specifically looking at the work of Mulla Sadra, the 17th century thinker.
Yeah, a real giant. And we're focusing on something at the core of his philosophy, his hikmat mutaliya, or transcendent wisdom.
Right, this central paradox. It seems like a real head-scratcher.
It is. It's this tension, you see, between two really important ideas for anyone on this path. First, there's this need for deep self-knowledge. You know the saying, he who knows himself knows his Lord.
Okay, know yourself, got it.
But then there's this other mystical requirement called fana. And that means, well, the annihilation, the destruction of that very same self.
Hold on, so I need to know myself really, really well, but then I have to destroy myself to get to the ultimate truth, the absolute.
That's the apparent contradiction.
So who's left? If I annihilate the self that knows, who's doing the knowing? It feels like Mission Impossible right from the start.
Okay, yeah, let's definitely unpack this. We should probably mention first, though, just for context, this discussion, it's based on translations, reproductions of conversations with Iranian philosophers, people like Dr. Dinani and Dr. Larijani.
Oh, look, important point.
So some of the nuances, the finer details, they might not translate perfectly. We just want to acknowledge that upfront and apologize if anything feels a bit off.
Understood. Okay, so where do we start unraveling this? With Sadra himself, I guess.
Exactly. We have to start with his foundation, which is wujūd shanasi, ontology, the study of existence itself.
Wujūd, okay.
And his whole system really hinges on telling apart wujūd from majūd.
Right, wujūd is existence, like the big picture.
Existence itself, yeah. The absolute singular primary reality. It just is. Always, everywhere. Majūd, on the other hand, that's an existent thing.
Like this table, or me, or a star.
Perfect. Those are majūdat. They're secondary, they're limited, they're conditioned, they exist because of wujūd.
And that's the issue for us humans, isn't it? We're sort of hardwired to focus on the things, the majūdat. We count them, measure them, label them.
We do. We get completely caught up in the existent things.
Yeah.
And that makes it incredibly difficult to grasp wujūd, existence itself.
How so?
Well, think about how we usually get knowledge about something, a majūd, like understanding a historical event. We use what's called ilm husuli, acquired knowledge, concepts.
So we stand back, gather facts, analyze, build a concept of it in our minds.
Exactly. You stand outside it to define it.
Yeah.
But how can you possibly stand outside of existence itself, outside of wujūd?
You can't. There is no outside. If it's absolute pervasive, you're swimming in it.
Precisely. So knowing wujūd can't be like that. It can't be conceptual, ilm husuli. It has to be ilm huduri, presence knowledge.
Presence knowledge, like direct awareness.
Immediate, unmediated awareness. Think of it like this. You can read every book ever written about chocolate, that's ilm husuli.
Right, concepts, descriptions.
Or you can just taste the chocolate, that immediate experience, that's ilm huduri.
Okay, I get the difference. But then, are we supposed to just ditch conceptual knowledge? Like, how do we build bridges or do science if it's all just immediate presence? Doesn't il-husuli have its place?
Oh, absolutely. Sadr isn't saying abandon conceptual knowledge. We need ilm husuli for the world of things, the majūdat. But he insists that ilm huduri is the only way to know the absolute wujūd.
And how do we access that immediate presence?
Through something uniquely human. It's called ilm murakkab, compound knowledge, second-order knowledge.
You mean self-awareness,
right.
Knowing that you know.
Exactly that. Let's break it down. Ilm murakkab's simple knowledge is knowing, say, the stove is hot. An animal knows that. It feels the heat, pulls back. Instinct.
Okay.
But ilm murakkab is knowing that I know the stove is hot. It's reflecting on my own knowledge. It's consciousness, agahi, as it's termed.
Ah, right. And that second layer, that awareness of our own knowing. That's what allows us to correct ourselves, isn't it? If I didn't know that I knew something incorrectly, I could never fix the mistake.
That's the crucial difference. An animal avoids the heat, but it doesn't think, my previous understanding of this hot object was flawed. We can reflect on our own awareness.
So that's self-awareness, that ilm murakkab. That's our bridge to the immediate knowledge, the ilm huduri, of existence itself. Because we're immediately aware of our awareness.
Yes, our knowledge of our own consciousness is an immediate present knowledge. It's the direct proof that we exist right here, right now. That's the link.
Wow, okay. That puts a lot of weight on self-awareness, which brings us right back to the paradox. If this aware self, this conscious self, is so vital and connected to wujūd, what's the self that Mulla Sadra says needs to be annihilated in fana? What's being destroyed?
Now we get to the heart of it. This is where Sadra makes a vital distinction. He talks about the Anāniyya.
The Anāniyya.
That's the ego, the false self. That's what needs to undergo fana. The real self, the actual conscious awareness connected to wujud, that's never destroyed.
So it's like there's the real me, the awareness, and then there's this
Uh,
constructed me,
yeah.
the ego.
Exactly. Think about the word person. It comes from the Latin persona, which meant
A mask, like actors wore in plays.
precisely. The Anāniyya is that mask. It's built out of our desires, our fears, what society expects, our regrets about the past, our hopes for the future. It's the image we project, the person we wish we were or think we should be.
And it's false because it's not grounded in the reality of our actual existence right now. It's chasing an illusion.
Yeah, it's an inauthentic existence. It refuses to accept the simple, immediate reality of its own being and instead identifies with this manufactured, temporary construct.
Okay, so if wujud, existence itself, can't be destroyed, then fana can't mean physical death or wiping out our consciousness.
Correct. It's not physical. It's an epistemological annihilation.
Epistemological, meaning it has to do with knowledge.
You're destroying a certain kind of knowledge, or rather, a false belief. Here's where two more key terms come in, muqayyad and asalat.
Okay.
The human self, our individual experience, is muqayyad. It's limited, it's conditioned, it has boundaries.
Right. Makes sense. I'm me, not you. I have limits.
But the fundamental mistake, the error that blocks true knowing, is when we give asalat to the qayyad.
Whoa, hang on. Asalat to the qayyad. Break that down. Qayyad is the limit, the boundary.
Yes. The qayyad is the limitation, the condition, the boundary itself. And asalat means originality, authenticity, ultimate reality.
So the mistake is thinking the boundary is the realest thing, giving ultimate reality to the limit itself.
You got it. That's the core error. Think about someone whose entire sense of self, their ultimate reality, their asalat, is tied up in their job title.
Okay, like, I am a CEO.
Right. That job title is a qayyad. It's a limit, a condition, it's temporary. If they grant asalat to that qayyad, what happens when they lose the job?
Their whole world collapses. Their sense of self shatters. Because they thought the mask, the limit, was the real thing.
Exactly. They gave authenticity to the boundary, not the boundless existence behind the boundary.
So, annihilation. It's the intellectual smackdown. The realization that the limit, the qayyad, is just accidental, arid, you called it. It doesn't have its own independent reality.
Precisely. It only appears real because it rests upon the mutlaq, the absolute, the boundless reality of wujud. Like a wave on the ocean. The wave, qayyad, seems like a thing, but its reality is entirely dependent on the ocean, mutlaq.
It's seeing the wave is the ocean, in a way, not separate.
Fana is that moment of seeing through the illusion, realizing the boundary isn't fundamental. Sadra uses this image. It's like removing the dust of the bond from the face of the absolute.
Okay, that's a powerful way to resolve the paradox. The real self, the awareness, isn't destroyed. Only the false belief that the limited self is independently real that gets annihilated.
That's the essence of it.
But wow, achieving and holding on to that realization, that deep understanding, that sounds like it takes incredible focus. You can't just grasp it intellectually once and be done, right? The ego, the Anāniyya, it probably fights back.
It does. The habits of thought are strong. And that's why Sadra insists you need both reason, aql, and faith, iman, working together to sustain this insight.
Okay, faith. How does he define iman here? Is it just believing certain doctrines?
Not exactly blind belief. He defines iman quite specifically as aqdul qalb.
Akul.
Literally the binding or the commitment of the heart qalb to a single object.
Binding the heart, like total focus and commitment.
Yes, but think about it. Binding your heart completely to one thing is, well, it's risky, isn't it?
Definitely. You could bind it to anything. Money, power, fame, some ideology, all those limited things, those qayyad.
Exactly. And that's why reason, aql, is absolutely mandatory. You need intellect to discern what is truly worthy of that ultimate commitment.
So faith needs reason to guide it, to make sure you're binding your heart to the right thing.
It must be rational faith, not jahal, ignorant faith, or blind commitment. Aql analyzes, discerns value, and ensures the heart binds itself only to the mutlaq, the absolute, the infinite reality, the only thing that truly has asalat, not to some limited concept or idol.
And if someone's heart is ultimately bound to, say, accumulating wealth, even if they say they believe in God, Sadra would see that as a problem.
He'd see it as functional polytheism. Regardless of what you say, if your heart's ultimate commitment, your aqdul qalb, is directed towards a qayyad wealth, status, even a limited idea of God, you're effectively worshiping a limitation. You're giving asalat to the boundary.
That makes sense. So Sadra wasn't a fan of splitting things up. Like just being a logician or just being a mystic.
Not at all. He was very critical of approaches that separated reason and committed practice. He criticized the pure debaters, the mutakallimin, who just argue endlessly without the wisdom penetrating their lives.
Oh, I had no heart?
Right. And he also criticized abstract philosophers lost in concepts with no connection to lived reality. And equally, the ignorant mystics who rely purely on feeling or imagination, takil, he called it, without any rational grounding to check if their experiences are genuine insight or just delusion.
So it has to be integrated. Reason guides the heart's commitment, and the commitment fuels the lived experience of the insight.
The unified path. This deep reflection, tafakkur fi malakut, contemplation of the kingdom, when done right, leads to what the Quran calls Shar'i Sadr.
The expansion of the chest.
Yes, it's a metaphor. The loosening of the tightness, the breaking of the bonds of conditioning, the opening up to that boundless reality.
That integration makes the journey sound continuous, not just reaching a single endpoint.
It is. And Sadr has this really beautiful evocative line about it. He says, if the traveler, Salik, is Okul, reason, then the ocean of gnosis has no shore. Laysa sahilan.
Wow. The ocean of gnosis has no shore. So the journey of reason, when it's truly seeking understanding, is endless.
Because for Sadra, our individual reason, our Okul, isn't just some little calculating machine. It's seen as a spark, a manifestation of the universal intellect, which is infinite, divine.
So our capacity for honest seeking is tapping into something boundless already.
Yes. The honest pursuit of reason eventually recognizes its own conceptual limits, kayad, but doesn't stop there. It keeps going, realizing it's part of that shoreless ocean of wujūd. The path is infinite because reality itself is infinite.
Okay, so wrapping this up, Mulla Sadra takes this terrifying idea of self-annihilation and completely reframes it. It's not about destroying our being, our consciousness.
No, it's about purifying our knowledge. It's that profound intellectual shift, that realization that the limited conditioned self we usually identify with the mask, the Anāniyya, is an illusion.
An illusion resting on the boundless reality, the wujūd that we already are.
Exactly. And navigating this path requires both sharp reason, aql, to see clearly, and committed faith, iman, aql called, to stay focused on the truly real.
It really forces you to be incredibly honest about where you're placing your sense of ultimate reality, that Asalat.
It demands that honesty. Sadra essentially asks the seeker to be reason itself on this shoreless journey. So having explored all this, maybe the question for you, for anyone listening, is the one Sadra implicitly asks.
Where are you placing Asalat?
Right. Where in your own life right now might you be granting ultimate reality, ultimate authenticity, to a kayad, some limitation, some condition, some role, some mask, some illusion, instead of recognizing the boundless reality it's resting on?
That is definitely something to sit with, a deep question to reflect on. Thank you for walking us through that complex terrain.
It's profound material.
It really is. Thanks, everyone, for joining us on this deep dive into Mulla Sadra's wisdom. We hope you continue exploring this path of knowledge.